I thought about going to get Dutch Bros, but I was like, it's a little too late for that.
Yeah. I have a Dutch Bros literally like 4 minutes up the street from my new house.
Yeah.
Also, welcome back to the Lousy Show.
Welcome back. Yeah. We're here. I'm Sam.
This is the new digs, and it works.
It does something.
I mean, hey, look, I don't think there's really a way we could like. Okay, first of all, we're not Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer, so we don't have the ability to fly to each city to record in person. So
maybe one day.
Maybe one day. It's a great time to tell you to subscribe to the channel, help us get there, and then also join the Lousy members.
Join $2.99.
Yeah,
$2.99. So things look a little different.
Yeah, a lot different.
If you couldn't tell, I need to stop looking at myself over there.
Yeah.
I need to look at you and you.
That's why I'm glad that I put my monitor up here away and my camera's over here.
Well, that's the hard part is I can't help but look at myself because I'm so gorgeous. And
I mean,
I'm actually going to minimize. Yeah, that's going to probably be better for
You're not used to it because you're used to just me right in front of you, phones going. Now you can see if you fuck up, though.
Now I'm virtual.
Exactly.
Now we're virtual,
We are virtual.
So things are a little different.
Yes.
So, yeah. Welcome back to the Lousy Show. We've done the thing.
This is the first one that we've recorded in like putting us back in proper time.
Mm-hmm.
We were a month ahead to cover both the moves and everything, and then we're here now. So
really, we were exactly 4 weeks ahead. Like, just to put it in perspective, technically there was, I guess, maybe 5 weeks, but from the date that I moved, which was the 22nd, or the 20th, I arrived on the 22nd is what it was.
Yeah.
Today's the 19th of the following month. So it was April 20th that I moved. Today is May 19th.
Because as far as this recording, to put it in perspective, as far as everybody who's watching, now that we're recording in real time, as far as like our schedule release, this very podcast will be coming out in 3 days.
Yep.
So we're back in our flow of up to date recording and such. But to put it in perspective, I also just moved in last weekend.
Yeah, literally not even a week ago.
Yeah.
Or right out a week ago, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. So like the fact that I've only been here a week. Mind you, I did all of this and the entire house is unpacked in a week. I'm proud of myself.
Yeah, that's impressive because the people can't see it, but you can. I still got some boxes.
Yeah. Well, and
I got my camera angle.
Like, I think the only thing I have to worry about, I find it funny that you can see the bassinet here behind me in the camera, but even right here, I'm kind of like making this my workshop. If you notice what this is, you can't see it, but they can. This is our original table from the studio.
Oh, really? No shit.
So I have that right here with my PCs on it, like a bunch of pops, as you can see. And I'm actually really digging this angle. Like this works a lot better for me because I really enjoyed how we've recorded TLS to the state of that corner angle, like getting that side profile. And I think I might use that for streaming a bit more too, because I appreciate the side profile. And while you can't get the breadth of the whole room, there's not much over here. Like you can see that there's a door right here with my lightsabers hanging up, and that's about it. And then the stuff behind that wall, you're not going to see in the camera.
No.
So all the magic's over on this side of the room. So
yeah, that's why this side's clean. Yeah. This side.
Yeah, y'all can't see, but I can see.
There's it's 3 boxes. Let's be fair. Now, part of that, one of those boxes, so this, not the one on top here, but the one below it that you can see at least.
Yeah.
That's full of unbuilt Lego sets. So that will be empty upcoming. I just need to figure out where the fuck I'm going to put Lego sets.
I mean, as you can see,
they don't know your backstock though.
No, okay. So let me put this in perspective for the back. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So you have a box. I have an entire desk covered. Like,
Yep.
and when I say covered, I don't mean just like, oh, it's a couple of them laying over there. No, they are stacked vertically, side by side, all the way across, biggest to little, and some stacked on top. And this is like, I don't know.
Your desk is 72 inches, I think.
Yeah.
Or 70 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and that one down there is a little bit shorter. So we'll say about 67 inches, give or take. So that's 67 inches of desk, so end to end, covered in Lego sets, stacked vertically, like standing in a line.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's like 34 or 35 Lego sets.
Good God. I think I have
yeah.
like 5 or 6 that I got for like Christmas and my birthday that I was like, I'm just going to wait to put these together in Washington.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
You know, because I was like, if I put them together now, I'm going to have to figure out a way to pack them, which packing my collection was already hard enough, which I'm sure I know yours was way harder. I only had one, like, I didn't really have any victims, I guess you can say, of the move. Like everything stayed together the way I wanted it to. I did take apart a couple things.
So, so all of these Legos that you see behind me, literally right here, I just put on that shelf, on those shelves last night. I finished at 3:30 this morning. Okay. So technically my office was finished being put together at 3:30 this morning as a recording. But some of the sets, well, I should say a majority of the sets made it. There were some casualties.
Oh no.
So my least favorite build to date is the ATTE. That is my least favorite. The legs are a pain in the ass. The guns on the front of it are a pain in the ass. Like, I just didn't have fun building that. I thought I would. And I think it was one of those sets where I was like, I'm like halfway done. Let me just finish it.
Yeah.
But I took that out and like some of the legs had like broken inwards and like popped off and the feet were all over the place. So I had to fix that. The Death Star made it.
No, never mind. Sorry. Ignore me.
The Death Star made it safely. But the Super Star Destroyer.
Uh-oh.
For those at home who don't know, because Lego collecting is like a very niche thing for most. Like it is considered a niche because it's not, while it's massive, it's not really like that well known.
Yeah.
Because you have levels of collectors where like you've got collectors who are just surface level. I like to build. That's about it. I'll go get me a creator set and call it a day and be happy kind of builds. You have people who know like some of the rarity and like appreciate the bigger sets and like the UCS sets and things like that. And then there's me where I will research not only the rarity, but I will hunt down these sets if they've been discontinued. I will find like these brand new sets somewhere because I know they exist. So for everybody at home wondering, this Lego set that I'm talking about, the Superstar Destroyer, and Future Sam, if you wouldn't mind, like throw it up on the screen for people to see.
I'll put a picture up. Yeah.
The Superstar Destroyer is without a doubt one of the most expensive sets on the market. Easily can go from anywhere from, I would say, $1,000 to $1,500 depending on who's selling it. I got mine for I think $800 because I initially they were selling it for $5, and then we're not going to talk about that. Initially they were selling it for $5, and
there's a story behind that one. We're not going to tell it because it involves some questionable legalities. No, just kidding.
Just gonna sip my actual tea. That's what I'm gonna do.
You could maybe call mine a tea, just a tea that's gotten fermented and distilled.
Anyways, but I paid $800 for mine. It's a very rare set. Mine was brand spanking new in the box, like nothing had been opened. And I thought I had taken very good care in bubble wrapping this, and I was wrong. underneath there's this chassis section that clips in, and the actual like post holders inside of it are just pressed in. They're not actually like clipped or anything. They're just but they hold the center together. And this whole chassis fell out.
Oh.
Yeah. Think Spider-Man in Infinity War, like, Mr. Stark, I don't feel so good. And then he like dusts in his hands. That's what was happening in my hands as I was trying to put this back together.
Oh no.
But I will say, after a very long battle, it is put back together.
Nice.
It was just
big dubs.
I know some people probably be like, Joe, it's a Lego set, dude. Like, why were you stressing? But like, like when you collect like we collect, it's not just a Lego set. Like you've put time.
Also, for reference, it's 3 feet long.
Yes. I would show it, but it's on the top shelf.
Yeah, it's 3 feet long. Like, you think a normal small little Lego set. Yeah. Even some of the larger ones, like y'all can barely see it. Joe can see it just fine. This is a UCS Republic gunship.
Mm-hmm.
That thing is about 2 feet long. That was the one I was worried about. And I took apart the wings and a couple other things just because, like, I knew, one, it wouldn't fit in any box. And then two, having those are held in with, like, basically hopes and dreams. And I pre-took it apart. I was worried about that one. The Super Star Destroyer is an extra foot, and it's very long and narrow, and it's fragile to say the least. So yeah,
I wouldn't even necessarily say it's fragile. I think it's in a move. Yes, it's just so long, and the pieces are so precisely put together that it's kind of like the Millennium Falcon. Like, the Millennium Falcon is still in bubble wrap. Why? Because I know for a fact that pieces fell off in transit.
Yeah,
it's halfway put together. I've had half of mine just to sell the fucker and be like, all right, I'll get something else. Like, I'll buy another one later on. But yeah, like I just for reference also, and a lot of people might know this. The Millennium Falcon is a very large set, much like the Super Star Destroyer.
Yeah.
For me, I ran into a lot of issues when building it with missing pieces over and over and over again. And I just got to a point where I'm like, I don't want to build this anymore. Like,
yeah,
it just,
you've had a lot of trials and tribulations, we'll say. So
yeah, very much so. So, I mean, like, but outside of that, I mean, like, everything else is fine. Like,
yeah,
I would say
at this point, we've been talking a lot about Legos for the last 10 minutes or so.
Yes.
We moved a lot more than just Legos.
Yeah, no, we moved our entire lives.
Yeah, and that's basically what we're going to be talking about today. Is kind of our trips, moving process.
Yep.
How much of a pain in the ass it is, and fuck long drives. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
I learned in this move, because this is, I mean, much like you, this isn't my first long move.
Yeah.
I learned in this move that my patience is stronger than I thought. I have been met with some trials while being here too, much like you.
Yeah.
Like, my move was what, a third of yours though?
How many miles total was yours?
I'll tell you. Hang on. I'll tell you the exact mileage.
Mine, I won't say exact. I'll say it was about 2,140 miles, give or take. So I think yours was not quite a third, but a little under a quarter, or a little over a quarter, excuse me.
Yours was how far?
2,140, give or take.
According to this, mine's only 684.
What? I thought yours was like 900 for some reason.
I did too.
No.
But yeah, apparently.
Yours is definitely
Well, I think in perspective, because you moved to the PNW, I moved like
Yeah.
when you look at the map, you went this way,
Yeah.
really far, and I went,
Yeah.
north.
You stayed on the same highway the whole fucking time.
I literally did.
Yeah.
He's not kidding when he says that. I was on I-35 the entire time.
Yeah.
Now, the only saving grace of that, because for anybody wondering, Oklahoma and Kansas, horrifically flat.
Yeah.
Boring.
Hell, even the Texas Panhandle, same thing. But
yes, it is a very boring drive. The only non-boring part was Oklahoma City, which I have a story about that in a moment. But Oklahoma itself, so flat. Like driving in the evening, and I got to see some like thunderstorms off in the distance and stuff. That was actually pretty cool. Like seeing a thunderstorm in the distance and like lightning and the rain and everything, like that's actually pretty dope.
That's dope. Yeah.
Now, I'm not complaining about the weather. The next day, the weather was like 76 to 78, light breeze, partly cloudy. Like, and when I say partly cloudy, I mean like there was spots of clouds in the sky, but mostly blue and sunny. Great for driving. Great for driving. But it was still so god awfully boring. I can only imagine for you.
So the first day was by far the most, like, it started off with a bunch of excitement, right? Because like we're finally doing the thing, and then going up to like Dallas from Austin, not a bad drive, honestly. Like, it gets a little boring past Waco, but the first hour and a half, you're super excited, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
Waco gets a little boring. When you're going up through Fort Worth, Dallas area, it's just like, you're on hyper vigilant because traffic's fucking everywhere.
Oh god.
Yeah. It moves. And fortunately we went on a Saturday, so like it wasn't too bad. And so by the time we got there, we left around 7 a.m. Got there around 10, 11 or so. Mm-hmm. And actually, let me backtrack for a little bit. No. Yeah. So before we got to Fort Worth, we went through, I believe it was before Fort Worth. It was West Texas, right?
Mm-hmm.
So for us, it was raining.
It's actually quite pretty out there.
I wouldn't know. It was only raining really heavily the entire time. But because of that, so so 35 through there it's two lane highways either way, basically, right? So like it's 2-lane highway on one side, 2-lane on the other, and then there's a grass median.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty much completely straight, except for like a couple gentle little bends, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was in front driving the U-Haul, which we had about a 20-foot U-Haul, and I was towing my wife's car behind that, and then she was driving my truck towing a trailer. It was a weird convoy, but we got there.
You made it.
But so around one of these gentle curves, granted it's raining a pretty good amount, but then all of a sudden I'm just realizing a fucking infinity just appears in the median backwards, coming straight at me. I'm like, fortunately I saw this with enough distance to where like I was able to like slide to the right and it was fine. But they hydroplaned on the other side and then came through onto oncoming traffic and then just drove right back through the median after they regained control and then just bippity bop down the road. I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, West Texas was really our only craziness, but yeah, past that up through the Panhandle. And so we went from Austin to Colorado Springs. So we went Panhandle into New Mexico for a second, basically just to start climbing the Rockies. And so once we started there, it got a lot more interesting.
Yeah.
But everything before that was flat. I'm talking ain't smoother than a cue ball, kind of holding the DeGrasse Tyson thing. It was flat. And it was so boring. That was the point where I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to drive 13 hours today. And once we got to New Mexico, things got a lot more interesting. So it definitely made things easier. But
yeah,
Yeah, it was crazy. I didn't like it.
That was me driving day 2 out of Oklahoma into Kansas. We stopped to get fuel, and I was like, all right, I'm good. Got my drinks. It's just me in the truck. So like I'm by myself. Nothing to do, but I had my Bluetooth headset with me. So I had one of them off so I could hear the road and what was going on around me, and have one right here so I could hear music. And I'm like, all right, I got that. Like, let's get going. And we start driving. And I hit about that hour mark, and it was so boring that I'm just like,
yeah, because there's no turns, no nothing. Like the only interesting parts that we had up in the Panhandle was like every hour or so we'd go through some small ag town that was like basically just a grain silo and then a general store, and that was it. Like that's all that was up there. And so I was just like, God damn. And then we have to go from the speed limit was 70. We were going about 65 because full U-Haul towing a car, not going to go fast.
Yeah.
At all. And then, so we go from about 70 down to 35 through this little ag town for some reason, and then back up to 70 after that.
Yeah, dude. I will say, to tell the story of Oklahoma City. So everyone knows I've got 2 kids. So we knew, like, moving, we were like, all right, we're not pulling this 10-hour drive in one day. Like, there's just no way possible, because with stops alone, that 10-hour drive is going to turn into 13 to 15 hours.
Yeah.
Easy. So I originally wanted to leave on that Friday by 1 o'clock. Unfortunately, that did not happen. We didn't end up leaving until like 2:30-ish, almost 3 o'clock. We get on up the road, and we knew we were staying in Oklahoma City because I was like, that's a good happy medium, like a good happy middle ground between the two. It's about 6 hours, and then that just leads us to the 4-hour drive to the new house. No biggie. Like, we'll stay at a hotel right off of 35. That way we can hop back on the road, get some breakfast, and go. Cool. Well, because we left so late and traffic was a absolute nightmare coming through Fort Worth, we didn't end up getting to the hotel that night until about 12:30. So it turned into a 10-hour drive in day 1.
God.
Yeah. Like, by the time I was done, I was so beat. I was just like, I have to take care of the kids. I genuinely was like, for anything, please just let them figure this out themselves right now. Like, I needed it. But we got into Oklahoma City, and I remember we're like, Oklahoma City's highways are much like Dallas's in that they have no pattern. Period. Like, you can go through, and when they're working on the roads, they make the lanes so narrow, and they put concrete barricades on the shoulder, so you cannot widen that lane at all. Period. They won't. Like, and I'm driving a 26-foot Penske truck with my car attached behind it. You want to talk about nerves? I was prepared for what was to come if I was to hit something. Like, I was like, I just need to mentally prepare for this, because I might hit one of these barricades, especially with how traffic's going around me. At one point, I just said, fuck it, and I backed the speed down to like 35. I was just puttering through, like, just to get to the construction. But we were going through a section of 35 that, like, it was open. It was a 4-lane highway. Everything was chill. I'm in the second lane in, cruising along, because the lanes were starting to, like, compress down through exits. And so I was like, cool, whatever. Like, my hotel isn't but for another, 10, 15 minutes up the street. So I'm cruising along, and I'm on the phone with my wife because she needed someone to talk to keep her awake, because she was also getting very tired. She's not used to driving that long.
Yeah.
So I'm on the phone with her, and all of a sudden through her microphone, I hear this just like sound. I'm like, what in the world? And I look in my side mirror, and I see this car fly past her, and it flies past me, and it looks like a Hellcat. And I'm like, okay, all right, get it. Friday night, sure, people tearing it up. Then I see another car trying to catch up to him. And you would think that's where the story ends. Nope. I then watch this Hellcat, the passenger window, roll down. And I'm thinking, let me slow down real quick. Something might get thrown out that window. I'm not trying to eat a bottle full of piss. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
Not trying to play that game. I then watch a man climb out of said window, sit his ass on the actual door, like on the window of the door.
Yeah.
Holding on to that little grate, the little bike rack piece on the top of the vehicle. Holding on to that, leans back, is pointing at the car behind him, and just full on Joker from Dark Knight, just woo. And I thought I was going to watch a man die, because if he lost his grip, they were right in front of me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I have a truck full of stuff and a vehicle attached to me, and I'm not rolling this. I'm not going to eat the concrete wall to my right or the barricade in the middle to my left for someone. Like, dude was, if he had let go, he was a pancake. And for a solid, I would say what felt like a good minute, I thought he was going to fall, because he stayed on that window, just, yeah, having the time of his life. And I'm on the phone with her, and I'm just like, I just need you to know that something might happen in a second. And if it does, I'm sorry. Like, I have no control at this point. Yeah, there's no control. There's nothing I can do. That's it.
Yeah.
And so yeah, no, I learned Oklahoma City has zero chill. And yeah. Then staying at the hotel that night, like when we got there, I had planned on getting up the next morning at 9:00 to hit the road and get going so we can get here soon. No.
Yeah.
No. No, I slept in.
What happened there? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. When we got there so late, because mind you, we were planning on getting there. If everything had gone according to plan, which it never does, if everything had gone according to plan, we would have left at 1:00. We would have gotten there between 7 and 8, right? Because we had planned on our youngest having to stop maybe once to like eat and get a change, a butt, and then go. So we planned on stopping once, getting there between like 7 or 8, relaxing, actually having some like dinner delivered to the hotel, just chill, and then get some good sleep, like get the boys down for bed, get some good sleep, wake up the next morning, shower, road, done. 9:00, hit the road, be gone. We got there so late, I legit was like, no.
Yeah.
Nope. And I don't think we hit the road. I think we hit the road at 10:00 because the boys woke me up, which is fine. But we hit the road at 10:00, and we ended up getting here around 4:30 because of me having to stop. Like when I was falling asleep, I was like, I need to wake up. So we stopped once to fuel up, and then once again for me to kind of just stretch the legs a bit. And because of those delays, we took our time, but we got here safely. So
that's all that matters at the end of the day, is as long as you both get there, or as everybody gets there happy, healthy. That's all that matters. Because for us, like while our trip was much longer, we didn't have 2 kids to deal with. Yeah. Like, we only had a dog. And on top of that, we had drugged up that dog.
Yeah.
Like we went to the vet and we were like, hey, we're going to be traveling really far. Our dog's not the best in the car. Like she loves the car, but she gets way too excited. And we're just like, we can't deal with that for 13 plus hours a day. So like, oh yeah, no, we got this perfect thing and it worked beautifully. We'd give it to her. She'd be a little bit rowdy at like the first hour or so, and then basically pass out from there, from what I understand. I didn't have the dog with me. I only had Master Chief with me. He was my co-pilot. And so for me, it was just dealing with my own self and boredom. And so my wife was behind me in the truck, just living it up back there.
Yeah.
Although I will say the weirdest part to me was, so we went from Austin to Colorado Springs. In Colorado Springs, by the time we got there around 11 or so at night, and again, we left at about 7 that morning. So our 13-hour trip turned into about 16 hours. we left, it was about 70 or so outside. When we got there, it was 29. And we're not prepared for that. I had looked at the weather in Austin and then the weather here in the PNW. And I was like, all right, it's like 70 in both spots. Beautiful. Colorado Springs, however, decided to throw me a fucking curveball and be cold as fuck. And so we were staying with a friend there. Fortunately, we had that, so that was a free stay. And he had warned us. He was like, "Hey, just give you a heads up. It was snowing this morning." I was like, "I'm sorry. It's almost May. Where the fuck are you?"
Yeah.
And then realized Colorado. So yeah, it was fucking cold. And then Boise was totally fine. We stopped in Boise, Idaho for our second stop because we did it over 3 days.
Yeah.
The second day was totally uneventful, but it was beautiful enough scenery to where like it didn't really bother me at all, you know. And of course, the third day it was about a 6-hour drive, so it wasn't too bad.
That's good.
But
yeah, no, I will say I don't think either of us had a good, like, to your point, neither of us had a good setup, I guess you'd say, because you had a long drive, I had a drive with kids, and both have their very, very difficult circumstances.
Yeah.
But no, you know, definitely feel good, you know, getting here and all set up and everything. Like, you know, I was thankful that so a buddy of mine here came to help like unpack, and we got the whole truck unpacked the day we arrived. Like, it was all like, granted, like we were still in boxes, but everything was unpacked, everything was all set. Like, and I dropped the truck off the next morning, and you know, everything was good to go there. You know, and we've just taken this whole week to get everything finished up and essentially just the way we want it. And I'm thankful that we've been able to do that, because so one of the things that's unfortunate is my wife, who was supposed to have a job when she got here, they did not inform her of things that she would need when she got here, because we were in the understanding that she was just going to transfer her background check. She works in early childhood education, so she has to have a background check done before she can work at the school. Yeah. And we thought she was going to have to, she was going to transfer. Come to find out, she couldn't, and they didn't tell her that until the day we moved. So we get here, and, you know, of course, she has no job yet. So she this week has worked on the house while I've been working, because I went back to work on Wednesday. But on Monday and Tuesday, I helped her out with getting, you know, the house finished up as well. And it was just nice to, like, it. Admittedly, we've had some trials this week. In their first week alone, our water heater and our AC unit both have gone out, and in their own capacity. Yeah. And it's like, okay, just got to keep remembering, this too shall pass. This too shall pass. Like, it sucks, but we're home. You know, we're you know, much like where you're at, it's where we want to be. I would have loved to have bought property in Austin. I would have loved to have been able to stay, but Austin is not a place to buy right now. Like, no. If you can deal with the heat, cool. If you can deal with the house prices, how? Tell me the secret, because I don't.
What are you doing that we're not?
Yeah. We need to make YouTube explode so we can
How much plasma are you selling?
Hey, look, you joke.
I'm thinking about it, honestly.
I keep getting, funny part is I keep getting ads, because, like, it's almost like the algorithm knows I just moved into a house and I've been having to spend money on, like, you know, the water heater and what will be our AC unit tomorrow, likely. And I keep getting ads. It's like, you can make up to $1,000 a month and donate in plasma. And I'm like, where? Tell me where. Like,
give me the address.
Look, I'll go right now. I'll put it in my weekly rotation. Like,
but I mean, you, on that subject of trials and tribulations. So fortunately and unfortunately, we were renting, and the place that we rented. So, like, we moved to the Pacific Northwest. It's stereotypically kind of cool here, not cold, but cool. But we still wanted AC, 100%. We're like, we're not gonna live without it. And there's a lot of places here.
I'll say, well, in fairness,
don't have AC.
In fairness, you have to remember, anybody who doesn't know, it's been getting hotter in the summers there.
Yeah, It got up to 115, I think, 2 summers ago, which it was for like a day or two, but still, that's fucking hot. So, so when we were looking, you know, of course, we had the filter on for AC, and then we would double check in the listing. It says have AC. All right, great. We found this place, has AC. I'll get to that in a minute. And we're like, great. And so we move in. The day we move in, it's like 70. Didn't even have to turn the AC on. It was beautiful, right?
Yeah.
Like, and then it got nice and cool for like the next week or two after that. So like, I haven't even looked at the thermostat really at all. I just saw it. It says cool on it. I'm like, all right, bet.
Yeah.
Then it got to about 85 one day. And I was like, yeah, it's a little warm. Let's turn that AC on. So I go and turn it on the night before, and it's not cooling at all. Now, granted, there's a couple things like when we first moved in, our dishwasher just was not working. And this house had sat for a little bit before another tenant, like before we moved in. So
for
apparently
good
they
reason.
we'll get to that in maybe another day.
I won't spill those beans, but for good reason.
Yeah, it's got some history. It's an interesting house. So dishwasher wasn't working. I put in the request. They came out and they were like, oh, they just turned off the water to the dishwasher. I'm like, oh, no big deal. Something they also neglected to tell us until the day we were moving was, hey, you also need natural gas, which they didn't tell us. We'd gotten all the other utilities set up. So we got, you know, electric, water, sewage, and trash all set up. And they forgot to tell us that. And so the first day that we were here, we had no hot water, which wasn't really a big deal. Just took a kind of cold shower. No big deal. Right. Yeah. The next day it got turned on. So like, there's a couple little weird things. So I figured, oh, maybe they shut something off on the AC. I don't know enough about ACs to go look at it, so I didn't go look at it. And so I just put in the request. They came out.
If I may say, fuck AC units, man. Like, they are some of the most confusing things I've ever seen. Like, if you work on AC units, you're a saint, and we love you.
Yep.
Like,
well, and for reference too, like, they're not only weird and complicated, but they're also expensive. Like, for example, my neighbor, when we first moved in, you know, we introduced ourselves. They ended up being super, super cool. Like, we got super blessed with awesome neighbors, and they were pretty close to the previous tenant. And so, you know, there were some changes that they had made in the house. So like, you know, we invited them in, you know, we were talking about stuff and they were like, yeah, got the AC. And then she was like, wait, you have AC? That's dope. Like, I would have bought this place instead of the other one if I had known that. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Yeah. So actually, sorry, let me backtrack. It wasn't 85 that day. It was about like just under 80 and the AC wasn't working. So I put in a request to get somebody to come out. The next day they came out. That day was getting up to about 85. And the guy comes out, he comes and looks at it. He was like, hey, you don't have AC. I was like, I'm sorry. Say that again for Big Fudge. Like, the fuck did you say? There is no AC. So, and he showed me, he was like, you know, hey, you know, you don't have any like compressor outside. You don't have a handler inside. Like, there's no AC. I was like, that makes sense now that you say it. But I'm supposed to have AC.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh. And I was like, yeah, I'm about to have a really awkward conversation with my property management company. And he was like, well, good luck with that. And he deuced out. And so right after he left, I called. And I was like, hey, this is Sam, you know, at this address. I put in the request for the AC, and the person on the other, it's a kind of smaller property management company. So there's only like really 2 people that you talk to on a daily basis. And so the girl's like, yeah. Is everything all right with that? And I was like, not really. Yeah, the gentleman just left and we don't have AC. She was like, oh, and I was like, yeah, but the listing said we have AC. So, and she was like, let me put you on a brief hold. And so I was on hold for about like 5-10 minutes. Then she comes back and she's like, hey, is the technician still there? I'm like, no, he left, like I said earlier. And she's like, okay, well, we're going to be calling him to come back because we got to get a quote to get AC put in. Because, yeah, we listed it with AC and said, now we got to put in AC. I was like, you goddamn right you do. And so it got up to just under 90 the next day. So that was rough. But fortunately, since then, it's been like mid 70s. Today was 60 degrees. So, and the rest of the week's going to be about mid 60s. So I'm personally totally fine with it at the moment. But we need to, that was on the 10th, I think. The day I think, because you moved in, no, you moved out the 10th. That was about when we found out that there was no AC.
Yeah, because you told me when I was on my way up, when we talked on the phone.
Yep. And I gave him the week to get the quote together because the owner had to approve the quote and all that. And so, yeah, we should hopefully, good news, be getting it this week before it gets hot again. So,
yeah, unfortunately for me, my AC journey is we have the unit. The unit definitely looks older. What happened for us is like, so when we got here for the first few days we were here, it was mild outside. Like it was no more than like 75 outside. Felt amazing. 75 and sunny. Had a couple of days where it was rainy, but it wasn't like moist, humid. It was like a nice rain, like a refreshing rain. And then it was cool.
Yeah.
And so like we were totally chill with that. And we also have an attic fan, which for anybody who doesn't know what an attic fan is like, you basically open up your windows and doors and it pulls all the air through into this fan and shoots it out the top of your house.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing. And so we did that. I mean, like it was keeping the house chilly. Like it was 75, 76 degrees outside, but inside it was crisp. So I was enjoying that. Well, it starts getting warmer and we keep our AC set at 70 because admittedly, here, I will tell you, 80 degrees here is not an 80 degrees in Austin. 80 degrees here is much cooler than it is in Austin. Yeah. And so, especially with my office being in the basement, everything, and everything else kind of like happening on the main level, we don't really need to push the AC that hard. Like we used to keep it set at like 68, 67, 68, even 66 on some days just to keep it cool. We don't have to push it that hard here. So I keep it set 70, 71 ish. And we noticed that it just wasn't working. And I was like, weird. Like it's getting hotter in here and it's on. And so I checked the furnace. Furnace is running. Checked the unit's running. And, unfortunately, to my, I guess, unfortunate dismay, I found out that it could be either our capacitor or our compressor. One is a $300 to $500 fix. The other is a $3,000 to $5,000 fix. And I am very lucky because when we bought the house, we got a warranty on it. And AC units are covered under the warranty. However, a technician has to come out to address what the problem is. Because I also think I have to get our ducts cleaned out. Because like there's vents where you can feel like you can walk around the house. Like right now I can feel air's pumping. It's not cold, but it's pumping through that vent right here above me. If I go to the vent in the living room right by the front door, nothing. Zero, no air. So I can only assume that they haven't had their ducts cleaned in a long time. But definitely got to do that. And that's why I keep telling myself this too shall pass, because this week has been so testing, like being a new homeowner, and I'm just getting blapped and blapped and blapped with thing after thing after thing. And I'm just like, when's this fun?
Yeah.
Like when does this become fun? Cause this isn't fun yet. Like,
yeah. I mean, that's what I've heard with homeownership is it can be rewarding, but you got to get through the shit first. Yeah. And then you get like a few years of bliss and then something else breaks and you got to fucking deal with it. So,
yeah. And like, that's the thing is like, I appreciate the freedom. Like it is a lot of money, but I do appreciate the freedom because I don't have to worry about being, berated by my landlord of like, how did you break it? Like,
yeah,
I didn't. I just turned it on. Like, I did exactly how it's supposed to work. And so, it feels good to not have to deal with that anymore, but it definitely is like it's trials and tribulations. Like dropping $500 in one night on a water heater just because you had to get your release valve fixed hurts your soul a bit. Like you're just like, ow, like okay. But at the end of the day, this house is mine, like, like I was able to paint it and decorate it exactly how I wanted with no one getting pissy. I have plans to work on the house as I go, but it definitely takes time. So
yeah, I think, I mean, with anything that you own, just free and clear, there's going to be really with anything, there's pros and cons, but it's just, you're going to have your moments of like, this is mine. And you're going to have your moments of like, this is mine,
Yeah.
So,
I definitely, I would say the first night we were here, I had that, I had that, like I sat on the front porch after we got everything done, and like everyone, my buddy went home, and wife and kids were asleep, and I have a very pretty front porch. Like I'm very happy with how the front of my house looks cosmetically. The house, I do plan on painting it, but like the way the porch is set up, it's a very like hangout style porch. And I was just I remember sitting there, it was like probably 11:30, 12 o'clock at night. It was quiet. There was this crisp breeze blowing through the trees, and I have this beautiful tree in my front yard. And I'm just sitting there on the front step, and I'm just like, this is home. This is my house. Like I own this. And yeah, these moments suck. These moments definitely like really blow when you're trying to, make it work. It's not the greatest thing in the world to have to deal with that stuff, but it's not every day, Yeah. If I have to, if I end up having to pay $3,000 to $5,000 to get my AC unit fixed, hey, look, I'll go buy some window units for right now, save up the money, get my AC unit fixed, and then guess what? It's good for however long. Like, and I can get a warranty on that. It's just it's one of those things where you learn. I feel more like an adult, and I know that sounds weird being 32. On the other end of being towards 33. It feels weird to say that, but it's true. Like I feel more like an actual functioning adult now than I have before. And I mean, I recommend if anybody wants property, like definitely try and find you some property, like get you your space. Cause it's worth it. Like in my opinion, it's definitely worth it. And I've only been here a week, and I have no doubt in my mind I'm going to have other trials and shit come up too, but those aren't going to be, oversight to all the good shit. Like the barbecues I plan on having, the pool parties I plan on having, like, it just feels good.
Life is super boring if it's all just good. Like then at that point, like at what point is good? Like you have to have some bad to mix in, right? So not to get all philosophical, but you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And again, that's why I keep telling myself, this too shall pass. I heard that, and I'm not going to claim it as my own. I heard it from Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks was at like on one of those like artist panels, like they do on YouTube. And I watch him from time to time because it's interesting to hear like career paths and such. But I was listening to him, and he said one thing that keeps me grounded while being an actor, because you can get lost in that sauce of like stardom, is this too shall pass. When you're having those really shitty days, when it's raining outside and everything's glum and you just feel like you can't, you have no energy, this too shall pass. When you're stuck in financial, disturbances and you don't really know which way, to go, which path to take to help you get back to ground zero, guess what? This too shall pass. But on the flip side of that, when you're having those stellar days, when you're having the perfect grade A day, the sun's shining, birds are chirping, everything's going your way, this too shall pass. So enjoy it while you got it.
Yep.
Like it is truly so like, not to get philosophical, like you said, like it really is like one of those grounding effects, especially with being a homeowner now, is like those shitty times are going to be there. But when you have those good ones, remember that, because you can remember when you had that shitty day, and this good feeling is going to pass, but enjoy it while you got it.
Yeah.
So, but I would say, all in all, you know, things are good. You know, we're all in, and this is the new TLS. This is the new, you know, setup that you're going to see from us from now on. I mean, our backgrounds might evolve over time. Like
mine definitely will. Yeah. Like I have a little bit of setup, but like it's got some updates to go through for sure.
Yeah. I mean, well, like, you know, you can even see like it's kind of still trashed over here. Like I got to put together my wife's flower Lego set because that got destroyed in the move. But like, you know, I'm sure gonna have more sets show up. I'm sure the backdrop's gonna change in some capacity. Like even back there might change. Who knows? But
yeah,
you know, the thing is like how you see us now is how this is gonna be. No, there isn't a studio. But here's the cool part: is this too shall pass. There's gonna be days where it, you know, I know we've mentioned visiting each other for birthdays or just trips and whatnot. And guess what? If we find it in ourselves to record a couple episodes for y'all and, you know, have a little in-person recording, who knows?
Might happen.
Might happen. You don't, you don't, we don't know what the future looks like, but what I do know, is it's time for us to jet out of here.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So thank you for everybody who's been riding with us. Thank you for everybody who has been sticking through our bulk recordings and, you know, waiting for us to get to our new places. We're here. We're finally made it. You know, of course, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Like we said, blow this channel up so we can actually make this a living, because content's fun and this is a lot of fun for us. This whole channel has been nothing but a blast. So thank you to all the lousy listeners out there. Make sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to stay up to date on all cool things TLS. But we will catch y'all on the next one.
Peace.
Later.